specifically from. Oh, yeah. Let's just Nama Om Vishnuvara Krishna Vastai Bhutale Shrimati Bhakti Vedanta Samti Namane Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Vachalane Nivasesha Sunyavadi Pashtatara Satanini Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare Hare. Yeah, so particularly the Prayag Brahman. Next was the
king.
Yeah, the southern queen. Yeah. Then we leave Boma and we go to Divya. And now it goes to see who?
Indra.
Indra. Yeah. Then Indra becomes incensed, and then at the glorification, and then he sends Narada to
Brahma.
Brahma. Yeah. Brahma the same. He mentions how he's not the full recipient of the Lord's mercy. And then he begins to glorify
Lord Shiva.
Lord Shiva, yeah. And then Lord Shiva the same. He begins to not take so well the praise given to him by Narada. And then Lord Shiva is now glorifying
Lakshmi.
Yeah, not Lakshmi yet. Oh, yeah, I think he did. I think we touched on Lakshmi, yeah, but the residents of Vaikuntha and specifically Lakshmi. So that's where we're joining it now on this transcendental odyssey of Narada Muni. Interplanetary systems is going. So let me just look if there. Yeah, let's have some hands up for reading. Oh, yeah, one there is Monica Mother. You like to read? Page, text 59. You can, there's a few hands gone up now. Okay, go ahead.
Text 59.
Yeah.
Truly, I tell you, such devotees are limitlessly dear to me as the Supreme Lord himself. My highest ambition is to have their company. Commentary. Lord Shiva has higher regard for pure Vaishnavas than for his own associates, headed by Nandishwari, as Lord Shiva told the 10 Prachita brothers. You are all devotees of the Lord, and so I appreciate that you are as respectable as the Supreme Personality of Godhead himself. I know that the devotees also respect me in this way, and that I am dear to them. Thus, no one can be as dear to the devotees as I am. Bhagavatam 4.24-30.
Yeah.
Text 60. In my opinion, dear Narada, anywhere such devotees are found is actually Vaikuntha Loka. Arguing against this fact would be useless. Commentary. For Lord Shiva, pure Vaishnavas living on earth or anywhere else are no less glorious than the residents of Vaikuntha. Vaishnavas should never be judged by whether they live in Lord Vishnu's kingdom or not, because one who possesses the treasure of Prema Bhakti always has the Lord living with him. The personality of Godhead himself has said, I do not live in Vaikuntha, in the hearts of the yogis, or inside the sun. Rather, my dear Narad, I am present wherever my devotees sing about me. Padma Purana, Uttarakhanda, 92:21-22. Text 61. Having drunk the nectar of devotion to Krishna, those devotees forget their material bodies and relationships. Thus, even while living in material bodies, they assume the transcendental nature of eternity, knowledge, and bliss. Commentary. One might question how devotees living on earth and in Vaikuntha can be equal. Don't the residents of earth have bodies made of material energy, while the residents of Vaikuntha have transcendental bodies? But Lord Shiva confirms the equality of these devotees nonetheless. Vaishnavas pay little attention to their gross and subtle material bodies and to bodily relationships. Vaishnavas do not consider the body their own property and so are indifferent in this regard. Having overcome the obstacles of bodily attachment, the devotees living in material world enjoy the nectar of Prema Bhakti without distraction and are therefore equal to the residents of Vaikuntha. Even while living in material bodies, the Vaishnavas lead an existence that is completely spiritual, Satchit Ananda. A devotee's material body may literally transform into a spiritual one, like the body of Dhruva Maharaj, just before his ascent to Vaikuntha, as described by Maitreya Rishi. Before getting aboard the Vaikuntha airplane, Dhruva Maharaj worshipped and circumambulated it, and also offered obeisances to the associates of Vishnu. In the meantime, he became as brilliant and illuminating as molten gold. He was thus completely prepared to board the transcendental plane. Bhagavatam 4:12-29. Commenting on this verse, Srila Siddhara Swami explains Hiranmayam as meaning full of effulgence. In other words, Dhruva Maharaj obtained a new body made of pure spiritual energy. To thus obtain a better body is quite possible. Srila Sanatan Goswami mentions that even drinking a special herbal tonic can give one a more attractive material body. Then what to speak of the attractive form one can attain by always drinking the transcendental tonic of Bhakti Rasa. Text 62. But in Vaikuntha, devotees always relish ongoing pleasure pastimes in the very company of the Lord. Therefore, devotees sometimes prefer to live there. Commentary. Why single out Vaikuntha and its residents for praise if devotees of Vishnu on the earth are equally glorious? Because although the pure Vaishnavas reveal on earth the glories of devotional service, only in Vaikuntha do the devotees enjoy the company of the husband of the goddess of fortune in endless variety of ecstatic pastimes. These loving reciprocations appear in Vaikuntha and nowhere else. For that reason, Vaikuntha has received its name. It is the world where no one ever feels the anxiety, kunhata, of not tasting the perpetual flow of devotional rasa. When the personality of Godhead momentarily disappears from the external or internal sight of his devotees in Vaikuntha, his disappearance only increases their eagerness to see him and be with him. In Vaikuntha, even the Lord's absence increases his devotees' awareness of him and the enjoyment of rasa.
Okay, perhaps we'll pause there. Any questions or curiosities or observations? Anyone after that special herbal tonic? That's the Swami speaks.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind that, Muli Prabhu, if you're going.
Yeah, actually, it's available in Holland and Barrett. You can find it there.
You mean Krishna Prema?
Is it buy one get one free or one penny?
Yeah.
That's even better.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's not. I think it's referring to Somarash. That must be refers to Soma, which is mentioned a few times in Bhagavatam. This mystical drink that empowers one.
Was that from the ocean, the ocean, the milk ocean? Is that the same?
No, it's different. This is from a plant. There's a specific plant that's grown in the heavens. And there's special prayers and special means to extract the juice from this plant. And it's all very ritualistic. And they drink it when the Brahmanas may drink it when they're doing prolonged sacrifices going over hundreds of years.
And moonlight has got a lot to do with it as well.
Especially in the moon.
Well, moonlight naturally gives the juice of life to vegetables and plants.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely.
Yeah. So unfortunately, it's not readily available. But we have what tonic do we have?
Charanamrita.
Bhakti Rasa. Yeah. Apart from Charanamrita, we have Bhakti as mentioned here. Yeah, Gopi Brahman points that out. So it mentions about the detachment of a devotee from this world, from the worldly attachments. That specifically devotees are tasting prema bhakti. I think they have no identification with their body and the consequential relations to the bodies. Yeah. So, all right. Any other questions on this or observations? Yeah. All right. Let's read on on this journey. Who's Vajkashama, would you like to read? Taking it
Yes, Hare
from
Krishna.
63.
63.
Yeah.
That is why I say that the residents of Vaikuntha are greater than everyone else. As the object of Krishna's special mercy, they are his most beloved devotees. Commentary. Vaikuntha-vasis are greater than the liberated Vaishnavas in the material world, among whom Lord Shiva counts himself. The reason for their various manifest glories, Lord Shiva argues, must be Lord Vishnu's favoring them more than others. They must be his dearest servants. Text 64. Sri Parvati said, furthermore, among them all, the goddess Sri is famous as especially dear to the Lord. She is indeed the ruling goddess of Vaikuntha and its residents. Commentary. Lord Shiva's consort Devi is a partial expansion of Lord Vishnu's consort Sri. When Parvati heard her husband praise Vaikuntha without mentioning the queen of Vaikuntha, Parvati became somewhat disturbed. She therefore took the liberty to speak out. Everyone who knows the goddess Sri knows that she is the beloved wife of Lord Vishnu. Indeed, one of her names is Haripriya. She is worshipped with reverence by all the Vaikuntha-vasis. To uphold the claim that Lord Vishnu's consort Sri is his most favored devotee, Parvati will now describe her greatness in more detail.
All right, so now we're going to hear about the glories, very nice, of Lakshmiji. Is it Lakshmiji? Yeah.
Sri is Lakshmi, yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Text 65. Her mercy expands wherever she casts her sidelong glance. Thus, the rulers of the various planets obtain their powers, their knowledge, their detachment, and their devotion. Commentary. According to Mother Parvati, the demigods are powerful only by the blessings of the goddess Sri. It is thanks to Sri that demigods correctly understand the relative positions of God and to finite living entities, that they have given up interest in material enjoyment and liberation, and that they have become devotees of the personality of Godhead. As Durvasha Muni told Indra in the Vishnu Purana, where there is patience, opulence arises, and patience also follows opulence. But how can those not favored by the goddess Sri have patience? And without patience, how can they have good qualities? In the same chapter of the Vishnu Purana, Lord Indra offered the following prayer to Lakshmi. O resplendent goddess, you personify the mystic knowledge of sacrifice, of material nature, of the secrets of devotional service, and of perfection of the soul. You are the giver of ultimate liberation. Ultimate liberation is pure devotional service, which is ruled by the consort of the Supreme Person and gained by the unfortunate soul only when she recommends that soul to the Lord. Text 66. Ignoring people like you who worship her with great respect, she vowed to undergo severe penances to worship her beloved Lord, even though he was indifferent to her. Commentary. Only devotional service to the Supreme Lord can attract the attention of the goddess Lakshmi, who worships Lord Narayan with pure devotion. She willingly accepts any difficulty and any menial service to please him. Although he, being satisfied in himself, does not need anyone's help to fulfill his desires. Many Vaishnavas look to Mother Lakshmi's example of perfect surrender, hoping to follow in her footsteps. The wives of the Kaliya snake, for example, prayed to Sri Krishna, O Lord, we do not know how the serpent Kaliya has attained this great opportunity of being touched by the dust of your lotus feet. For this end, the goddess of fortune performed austerities for centuries, giving up all other desires and taking austere vows. Bhagavatam 10:16-36. The Supreme Goddess Mahalakshmi is the eternal beloved of the Lord of Vaikuntha. She does not have to worship him to achieve him, but her expansions descend as avatars to accompany the various incarnations of Narayan. And some of these avatars of Mahalakshmi, such as the daughter of Bhrigu Muni, are described in the Vedic scriptures as performing penances to obtain the Lord as their husband. Text 67.
Yeah, perhaps that's a detail just to take note. I think it's a very important point that so sometimes you'll read about, as it's said here, the daughter of Bhrigu Muni doing austerities to obtain Krishna as a husband. You know, there's only that's goddess Lakshmi. So she has an eternal position, as being said here. She's an eternal beloved of the Lord of Vaikuntha, as it's mentioned. But then she expands. Then there's different, but her expansions descend. Then they may engage in different austerities to go through the pastime of achieving Vishnu as their husband. That's the same as written in regards to the mother of Krishna. Yeah, and so sometimes the you see Prishni, was it Prishni and Suttapa? They was engaging in austerities to attain the position, or to obtain the position of Krishna's mother and father, respectively. But that's an eternal position that's already taken. So they're considered to be expansions of Nanda and Yasoda, who then, in the material world, then they engage in austerities to obtain the position of being the father and mother of the Supreme Lord. But that's an eternal position. So that's the same principle. All right.
So basically, Prabhu, this is Radha Tattva, really, isn't it?
It's what Tattva?
Radharani.
Well, yeah, you can take this further. I mean, ultimately, Narada will go to Radha, as you know. But yeah, she's an expansion of Radha.
Sorry, Prabhu, because in Vrindavan, Shri is referred to as Radharani, not Lakshmi.
Yeah, but here this is referring to Lakshmi.
This is referring to Lakshmi, but for me, reading between the lines, it was almost like Krishna and Radharani, because it says that as an expansion or as a tattva. I know they're speaking about Lakshmi Ji and Lakshmi Narayan, but again, it all comes back to Krishna Tattva and Radha Tattva. Doesn't it?
Yeah, because that's very nice, because that's your attraction ultimately.
Yeah.
So, you're attracted to Vrindavan and Radha and Krishna. So that's that's your mood. That's our mood, hopefully. So therefore, we are thinking of Radha, because actually all the goddesses of fortune come from Radha, as we know. All expansions of Krishna come from Krishna. So the same with the Shakti Tattva. Yeah, the original Shakti Tattva is Radharani. Yeah. So very nice. So it's reminding you of Radharani. Now it's reminding me of Radharani and others as well. Thank you for reminding us of that. Yeah. Okay, you can continue reading. I think Rajkishore, I think.
Okay, text 67. The most perfect of chaste wives resides forever on his beautiful chest and follows him in all his incarnations. Commentary. One of Sri Mahalakshmi's expansion is the Lakshmi, who controls and dispenses the opulence of the material world. Those who seek this Lakshmi's grace now know from their experience that she is fickle, chanchal. But the original Lakshmi is never unsteady in her devotion to Lord Narayan. She always stays in his company, residing on his chest and following wherever he goes. Just as the Lord of the universe, the God of gods, Janardhan, descends to this world, so does his helpmate, the goddess Shri. When he appears as a demigod, she appears as a goddess. And when he becomes a human, human man, she becomes a human woman. She accepts for herself a body that exactly corresponds to whatever body Lord Vishnu assumes.
Yeah.
Vishnu Puran.
Yeah, so somebody to answer their phone there. Okay, so here's another interesting point. Lakshmi, one of Lakshmi, Mahalakshmi's expansions is the Lakshmi who controls and dispenses the opulence of this material world. Yeah, so it is an expansion of the original Lakshmi. Yeah, so therefore it's in that case it's known as Chanchala. And
Is that Maya, Prabhu? What is known as Maya?
Is that, yeah, what do you mean? Maya Devi? Mahalakshmi?
Yeah, Maya Devi.
Yeah, expansions, yeah.
She's the one who's Chanchala. That's all.
Yeah, that's what being described there. So that's why it's described that the opulences of a devotee, they are, they are not coming and going. Yeah, because it's coming from the original Lakshmi ji. Because of their devotion to Vishnu, then their material position is very steady, and it's not chanchala. Yeah, and so otherwise wealth comes and it goes. Yeah, just a small point there. Any questions on that? Or
Can I go on to number
yeah, or sometimes just thinking. Sometimes you may see devotees go through different material. They may be in material opulence, and a few years later they may be nearby destitute. Prabhupada experienced that in his life, but there's something else going on there. That's a direct intervention of the Lord for the ultimate spiritual emancipation, the spiritual well-being of a devotee. The Lord has a specific plan for a devotee. There's that verse, isn't it? Harinam, I forget about the Sanskrit, but for one who the Lord especially favors, then he takes away all their material opulence. Now that generally doesn't happen to all devotees. That is an exception, but sometimes it does happen to suit a higher purpose. So Prabhupada, in his humility, saw what's happened to him. Then it facilitated the whole spreading of Krishna consciousness. Mm. Yeah. So it shouldn't be considered that's wealth is a chanchala, even with a devotee. No, when a devotee comes into this, opulence is given by the Lord himself. So it can never be taken away by the material energy, except if there's a special arrangement by the Lord. Yeah. Or if a devotee is getting distracted by the material opulences, then the Lord may want them again to focus on, to be more dependent upon him. So therefore he closes their bank account. He closes.
They say Alakshmi, she's the best judge.
Who?
Alakshmi, she's one of the best judge because she knows exactly when to take away and when to give you. Usually Alakshmi comes first before Lakshmi comes. So Alakshmi, they say in India, she stays outside at the door. She's not invited, but always she's coming with Lakshmi.
Yeah, so we're talking about the material Lakshmi here, isn't it? Oh, there we say material Lakshmi, but that which is an expansion of the original. Yeah, and there's other quotes there, isn't there? If what is it? I forget, anyone knows these quotes? If a husband and wife don't argue, then Lakshmi's there. If they do,
yeah. They say to keep the bathroom door closed. Also, otherwise Lakshmi leaves.
Anyway,
or she's called also Jyeshcha Nakshatra, Alakshmi.
Yeah. So this is referring to Mahalakshmi expansion. The expansion controls and dispenses the opulences of this material world. That's an expansion of the original Lakshmi, because she is steady in her service to a worshipable Lord, Vishnu. Yeah. Right, so you can continue reading.
Okay. Text 68. Sri Parikshit said, then the sage, his mind vibrating with the extreme delight, called out, Glories to you, O husband of the goddess Kamala, O Hari, Lord of Vaikuntha. Glories to you, O Vaikuntha world. Glories to all who live there. And glories to you, O Padma, Lord Krishna's beloved, O presiding goddess of the Vaikuntha. Commentary. Having heard Lord Shiva and Parvati's description of the glories of Vaikuntha, its residence and its presiding goddess, Narada was overwhelmed with ecstasy. Although the Supreme Person was currently present on the earth in Dvarka, Narada forgot this and wanted to go at once to Vaikuntha. Expressing his ecstasy, he first praised Lord Narayan, then his kingdom and its residence, and last, the greatest devotee of Vaikuntha, Sri Mahalakshmi. Text number 70. Then, wanting to visit Vaikuntha and personally offer respects to the goddess of fortune, Narada stood up. Seeing this, Lord Shiva took him by the hand to stop him. Lord Shiva then spoke. Commentary. From the words of Narada was speaking, and from how he turned his eyes upwards, Lord Shiva could understand that Narada intended to visit Vaikuntha and personally offer respects to the goddess Mahalakshmi. But by doing so, Narada would neglect an even better opportunity. Text number 71. Sri Mahesh said, "My dear Narada, because of your eagerness to see the dearest devotees of Krishna, you have lost your memory. Don't you remember that the Lord of Vaikuntha is living right now on the earth in Dvarka?" Commentary. Narada is not to be blamed for being distracted by the glories of the Lord of Vaikuntha and his consort, because Narayan and Mahalakshmi are indeed the all-attractive supreme couple. But Narada could now see the same Narayan and Mahalakshmi without having to travel so far. Number 72, text 72. Queen Rukmini is a supreme goddess of fortune herself, and Krishna is the original personality of Godhead. Rukmini's partial incarnations accompany Lord Vaman's and other avatars of the Lord. Commentary. In case Narada has any doubt that the goddess Mahalakshmi is appearing with Sri Krishna, Lord Shiva reminds Narada that she had descended as a daughter of King Bhishmak. Still, Narada might raise the doubt that Sri Mahalakshmi never leaves the sides of a supreme personality of Godhead, Narayan. Lord Shiva answers this by quoting the assertion given in the Bhagavatam 1.3.28. Krishnastu Bhagwan Swayam. Krishna, as he appears on the earth, is the original personality of Godhead. But why then is Lakshmi sometimes seen in the company of incarnations of the Lord, such as Sri Vaman, a 1,000-headed Mahapurush, and Kapil Dev? Because these Lakshmis are avatars of Mahalakshmi, that original goddess of fortune, the dearest devotee of the Lord in Vaikuntha, has descended to Dvarka as Queen Rukmini. Okay, perhaps you can pause there, Mother. Thank you for your reading. So here's a little twist in the turn. Looks like he's not going to go to Vaikuntha now. He's going to go to Bhoma, where Krishna's appearing in Dvarka, and going to glorify Queen Rukmini. So, and nicely described how Lord Shiva turned his eyes up. That, yeah. Don't you realize the Lord is here on Bhoma in Dvarka? You know. All right. So, Mihai, would you like to continue reading from 73?
Yes, Hare Krishna. Rukmini is the perfectly complete divine consort of the complete personality of Godhead. She always serves at the Shri Krishna's lotus feet. Commentary. Because Shri Krishna is not a mere incarnation of Vishnu, but the source of all incarnations, Srimati Rukmini is equally supreme. She is the source of all goddess of fortune. Text 74. I think we need to change the page, please. So sit down, my dear Brahmana, and I shall whisper in your ear a great secret. Please hear this with absolute confidence. Commentary. Since the original personality of Godhead and his original consort has appeared on earth, Narada should put aside his eagerness to run off Vaikuntha and should just sit for a minute to hear what more Lord Shiva has to say. Nor should Narada run immediately to Dvarka without first listening to Lord Shiva's confidential advice, because what Lord Shiva wishes to say should not be heard by everyone, not even by his personal associate. He wants to whisper it into Narada's ear, thus also avoiding the possibility of dispelling Parvati, who is close friend of Mahalakshmi's.
Displeasing. That was
displeasing. Displeasing. Sorry. There is a greater recipient of Krishna's mercy than your father me and other servants like Garuda, and even then the goddess of fortune. His name is Prahlāda.
So Prahlāda's next. We was all thinking it's the goddess of fortune. I was thinking that's where we're going, but now it's Prahlāda. Okay, continue. Yeah.
He's famous throughout the world as the dearmost devotee of Krishna. Commentary. Do not expect to fulfill your intention by visiting Dvarka just now. Lord Shiva is telling Narada, there is a devotee in this world even greater than the supreme goddess of fortune, and that is Prahlāda. Before going anywhere else, you should visit him, because Prahlāda's devotion to the Supreme Lord is so deep. He's especially dear to the Lord. He's greater than all the Lord's servants in Vaikuntha, including Garuda and Vishvasena and even Lakshmi.
Yeah, just pause here a minute. This is very interesting because who is Prahlāda's spiritual master?
Narada Muni.
Narada.
Yeah. So interesting how that plays out. So Narada Muni definitely knows Prahlāda. He's the one who instructed him within the womb, and who Prahlāda sees as his worshipful spiritual master. Yeah. But anyway, let's you can continue reading if you like. You okay, Mihai? You still there? You're frozen. He's frozen in time.
You got to change the page, I think.
No, I think I stopped. I think no, we haven't.
What number are we at? 75.
Okay, Mihai.
76.
Oh,
76.
Okay.
Page is 75.
Yeah, go
on. No, 76 page, no?
Yeah, but that.
I think you're reading. If you just read this again.
So there is a greater recipient. So should I read the commentary? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Do not expect to fulfill your intentions by visiting Dvarka just now. Lord Shiva is telling Narada, there is a devotee in this world even greater than the supreme goddess of fortune, and that is Prahlāda. Before going anywhere else, you should visit him, because Prahlāda's devotion to the Supreme Lord is so deep. He is exceptionally dear to the Lord. He is greater than all Lord's servants in Vaikuntha, including Garuda and Vishvasena, and even Lakshmi. And now it's text 76.
Okay.
Start with surely.
I've changed it. It's there.
Surely. Start with surely.
Something happened.
He's frozen.
Haribol?
Yeah, we can hear you.
We can hear you. Can you see the verse?
Haribol.
Okay, perhaps I'll read until he comes back. Surely you haven't forgotten the Supreme Lord's words about this. You must have read them in the Puranas and must remember the following verse. Naham Atmanam Ashesh.
Yeah, there is no 70.
You sound like you're underwater. Mihai, it's difficult. There's something wrong with your connection. So perhaps
He's disconnecting again.
disconnect. Okay, so Naham Atmanam Ashashe Mat Bhakti Sadubhivina Shriyam Adyantikam Bhapi Yesham Gati Aham Para. Without saintly persons for whom I am the only destination, I do not desire to enjoy my transcendental bliss or supreme opulence. This verse, spoken by the Supreme Lord to Devasa Muni in the 9th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, 9.464, is cited here to establish the greatness of the Vaishnavas in general. The personality of Godhead derives great satisfaction from his pure devotees on the earth and elsewhere. And in contrast, he is not as much attracted to his own consort in Vaikuntha. So, or the imperishable opulence she creates for his pleasure, nor is he as much attracted by his own beauty, as the Lord further told Durvasha, Aham Bhakta Paridhino Hayashvan Tantra Ivadvija Satto Be Krasto Hittayo Bhakti Bhakta Janapriya. I am completely under control of my devotees. Indeed, I am not at all independent. Because my devotees are completely devoid of material desires, I sit only within the cause of their hearts. What to speak of my devotees? Even the devotees of my devotees are very dear to me. Yeah, so Lord Shiva is now revealing the Lord's own words in who he holds very dear. So even more dear than the goddess of fortune is these unalloyed devotees such as Prahlāda. Yeah, so Lord Shiva is reminding Narada Muni of that. So let's finish reading the purport, then perhaps Sahachari, you can pick up reading. I'll just read this purport. So just moving a few things around here. Mayi nibhatta hrittayaha sadava samadashanaha Vishi kuvanti mam bhakta sat striyaha satpatim yata. As chaste women bring their gentle husbands under control by service, pure devotees who are equal to everyone and completely attached to me in the core of the heart bring me under their full control. Uddhava heard similar words from Sri Krishna. Natate me priyatama atma yoni na shankaraha lacha shankashano na shri nivatma cha yatha bhavan. My dear Uddhava, neither Lord Brahma, Lord Shiva, Lord Shankarsham, the goddess of fortune, nor indeed my own self is as dear to me as you. Bhagavatam 11:14-15. Srila Sanatana Goswami comments that Sri Krishna in this verse from the Bhagavatam meant to make the general statement that no one else is as dear to him as his pure devotees. But because Krishna became so ecstatic thinking about the specific glories of his devotees, instead of saying my devotee, he unintentionally said you, Uddhava. Okay. So Sahachari Mother, you like to
okay.
carry
Thank you.
28.
Yeah. Mad Adi Devata Yone.
Sorry?
Prabhu, I just have one. This
Please,
last
that's the one.
sentence. This last sentence that you just read, his unintentional ally said to Uddhava. Isn't that amazing that even Krishna gets lost with the devotion of his devotees?
Yeah. Sometimes Krishna gets carried away.
Yes.
In his ecstasies, or sometimes he gets carried away also in his admonishment of demonic people. I say that because my Guru Maharaj was commenting on Krishna's in the divine and demonic natures, chapter 16 of Bhagavad Gita.
Yes.
where they're condemned to the lowest species of life. And
Yeah.
they will never see the light of day again.
Yeah.
So that sounds like the Christian's eternal damnation. But my Guru explains sometimes Krishna gets carried away.
This to
He gets
me,
carried away here in ecstasy and love.
yes,
So therefore,
it's just so beautiful. Wow. Thank
it's
you.
like, yeah.
Thank you.
Let's read it again. But because Krishna became so ecstatic thinking about the specific glories of his devotees, instead of saying my devotee, he unintentionally said, you Uddhava,
Uddhava.
because he is such a pure devotee.
Yeah. Thank you, Prabhu. That's just really, really nice.
Yeah, thank you for bringing that out. Yes, Sachari Mavi can continue.
Mat adi devata yonir nija bhakta vinodakrit Sri Murtir apisayepyo napeksha kohina naturuntan. The Lord's divine personal form is the source of all the demigods, including me, and gives great pleasure to his devotees. But the Lord considers his own body worthless compared to the value of his devotees. Who is fit to praise the Lord's devotees? Commentary. The demigods headed by Shiva, Brahma, and Indra all originate from the creator of the universe. The Supreme Lord's Mahapurusha incarnation, that Mahapurusha form of Vishnu, is a direct expansion of Lord Narayan. In another sense of word yoni, Narayan himself is the shelter of all created and non-created beings. His personal form is superior, therefore, to the glories, worshipable forms of the all demigods. The Lord's all-attractive beauty delights his servants like Sesha and Garuda, who enjoy taking part in his pastimes. The opulence and sweetness of the Lord Sri Murti cannot be completely described in words. However, in the opinion of the personality of Godhead himself, his own opulence and sweetness are unworthy of attention compared to the greatness of his pure devotees. Who can adequately glorify the unalloyed Vaishnavas? Who can adequately glorify the unalloyed Vaishnavas? No one. Text 79. Moreover, among those countless devotees, Prahlāda stands out as the example of perfection. The Lord himself has described him in this way. Prahlāda's good fortune is inconceivable. Commentary. Prahlāda is one of the rare Vaishnavas described in the previous verse who have no trace of material motivation. The Supreme Lord cherishes such pure devotees more than his own self. What to speak of Brahma and other demigods? Furthermore, as the present verse states, Prahlāda's surrender is especially complete, conferring on him a devotional position superior to that of pure devotees such as Sesha and Garuda. His good fortune is unique among Vaishnavas, as the Lord has declared to him. Those who follow your example will naturally become my pure devotees. You are the best example of my devotee, and others should follow in your footsteps. Bhagavatam 7:10-21. Text 80. When the Lord tore apart Hiranyakashipu, I, all the demigods, and the goddess Lakshmi witnessed with our own eyes the incomparable good fortune of Prahlāda. Commentary. Lord Shiva, Brahma, and many other demigods and devotees, headed by Lakshmi Devi and Garuda, witnessed the killing of Hiranyakashipu by Lord Narasimha with such substantial first-hand evidence for the Lord's special kindness to Prahlāda. No one should think that Prahlāda's birth in a family of demons disqualified him from being a Vaishnava. The Lord's appearance for the sake of Prahlāda is further described in the 7th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, chapter 8. Text 81. Lord Vishnu several times tried to offer his boons, but Prahlāda refused to ask to be liberated. Instead, he chose only pure devotion. I bow down before him. Commentary. This verse quoted from the Narayana Vyuhastava highlights the exclusiveness of Prahlāda's devotion to the Supreme Lord. Lord Nrsimha tried hard to entice Prahlāda with liberation, just to let others see Prahlāda's resolve to stay fixed in pure devotion. The words punah punah, again and again, can be understood in several logical contexts. The idea may be as given in this translation. The Lord Nrsimha offered Prahlāda liberation several times, or else it may be that Prahlāda repeatedly asked for pure devotion, or else Prahlāda asked for pure devotion in his repeated future births. Prahlāda expresses this last idea in his prayer to Lord Nrsimha, recorded by the Parashara Muni in the Sri Vishnu Purana 1:20-38. O Master, in all the thousands of births through which I must wander in this world, please let me have unfailing devotion to you. The infallible Supreme Lord, Prahlada's readiness to be born again thousands of times means he is not at all interested in liberation. Text 82 and 83. My dear sage, Bali violated spiritual etiquette by disobeying the order of his spiritual master and failing to be true to his own words. Still, as we know, the Lord agreed to become the god at Bali's door. Was that simply the fruit of Bali's insignificant charity? The Lord also granted protection to the wicked Bana. Was that the result of my offering the Lord's prayers? Commentary. Because the personality of God had blessed Bali Maharaj by becoming his doorkeeper. Someone might suggest that Bali received more mercy than Prahlāda, but according to Lord Shiva, this is not true. Rather, Lord Vishnu favored Bali only because Bali was Prahlāda's grandson. Fighting for the demons against the demigods, Bali overturned the law of the universe set by Lord Brahma, that the demigods should rule heaven. The demons, the subterranean Patala Loka, by invading heaven, usurping the throne of Indra, and awarding the posts of various demigods to demons. Bali violated this natural order. Bali also disobeyed specific instructions from his spiritual master Sukracharya. Sukra warned Bali not to give anything to Vamanadev, even though Bali had offered Lord Vamana his choice of gifts in charity. By committing the worst possible crime of denying one spiritual master's order, Bali earned Sukracharya's curse. Srila Sukadeva Goswami describes this in the Bhagavatam 8:20-14. The spiritual master Sukracharya, inspired by the Supreme Lord, cursed his exalted disciple Bali Maharaj, who was so magnanimous and fixed in truth that instead of respecting the spiritual master's instructions, he wanted to disobey them. After being cursed for agreeing to give Lord Vamana what he had asked, Bali could not even provide the charity he had offered. Vamanadev covered the entire universe with only 2 steps, and no land remained on which he could place his third. Thus, Bali's elegant words promising charity became an empty promise. He had told the Lord, O son of a Brahmana, it appears that you have come here to ask me for something. Therefore, whatever you want, you may take from me. O best of those who are worshipable, you may take from me a cow, gold, horses, elephants, chariots, a furnished house, prosperous villages, palatable food and drink, the daughter of a Brahmana for your wife, or whatever you decide. Bhagavatam 8:18-32. When Vamanadev submitted a request that seemed too modest, Bali laughed at him and said, O son of a Brahmana, O son of a Brahmana, your instructions are as good as those of learned and elderly persons. Nonetheless, you are a boy and your intelligence is insufficient. Thus, you are not very prudent in regard to your self-interest. Bhagavatam 8:19-8. And when Vamanadev insisted that he wanted nothing more than as much land as he could cover with 3 steps, Bali replied with confidence, as stated in the Srimad Bhagavatam 8:19-28. When the Lord had thus spoken, Bali smiled and told, all right, take whatever you like. But when his promise proved impossible to fulfill, these proud words became a reason for Bali to be ashamed. It seems that Bali did not give away anything very important, just the 3 insignificant material worlds and then his own body. Padam Triyam Kuru Srishni Me Nijam. Please place your 3rd lotus feet on my head. Bhagavatam 8:22-2. Vamanadev's becoming Bali's doorkeeper could not have been the result of just this meager charity. Lord Shiva proposes, the Lord must have reciprocated with Bali in this way because Bali's grandfather Prahlāda was a great soul and a dear devotee of Vishnu. Bali did not deserve this benediction because he was a violator of the universal order, a transgressor of his guru's order, and a breaker of promises. We see in this world that a general rule in exchange for worthless trifles, nothing substantial can be obtained. Bali's petty charity, therefore, could not be purchased the personality of Godhead, who is the embodiment of eternal knowledge and bliss. That charity certainly could not have resulted in the Lord's entering Bali's household entourage. The only feasible explanation for Bali's good fortune is the intimate exchange of prema bhakti between Prahlāda Mahārāja and his worshipable Lord. In defense of Bali, someone might argue from the statements of Shastra that Prahlāda had blessed Bali with the gift of pure devotion for the Lord, and on the strength of that devotion, he achieved the Lord. Another example is therefore given here, that of Banasura, a much more wicked person. Other than the Lord's compassion for Prahlāda, there can be no reason for Bana's salvation. Not even Lord Siva's intercession on Bana's behalf could have saved Bana's life when Krishna was about to kill him, nor could Bana have achieved the perfection of having all but 4 of his arms removed, nor would Lord Krishna have made Bana Lord Shiva's eternal associate. Banasura was so wicked that he even dared challenge Lord Shiva, his object of worship. O Lord Mahadev, I bow down to you, the spiritual master and controller of the worlds. You are like the heavenly tree that fulfill the desires of those whose desires are unfulfilled. These 1,000 arms you bestowed upon me have become merely a heavy burden. Besides you, I find no one in these 3 worlds worthy for me to fight. Bhagavatam 10:62-6. Bana had also abandoned the devotion to Lord Vishnu that was traditional in his family. Instead, he became an enemy of the Vaishnavas, demigods, and the Brahmanas like an ordinary demon. He arrested Lord Krishna's grandson Aniruddha, fought against Krishna, and committed other offenses described in various Puranas. Lord Shiva here asks, was it because of my prayers that Sri Krishna excused Bana for all his nonsense? Of course not. Lord Shiva insists, only because of Prahlāda's pure devotion did Lord Krishna deliver Banasura. Offenses against Vaishnavas such as those Bana committed can be absolved only by the Vaishnava's mercy. It was by Prahlāda's grace that his grandson Bali and great-grandson Bana were dealt with favorably by the Lord. The only reason the Lord pardoned them for their offenses and elevated them was to please Prahlāda.
Okay, let's just pause there for, let's just reflect on that. So they had done lots wrong, Bana and Bali in one sense. It is just highlighting the point. I mean, Bali did surrender, he did surrender everything, but he didn't have much to surrender. He only had the material worlds. So, and also Bana's Bana as well. But they got the mercy simply because they was related to Prahlāda. It was by Prahlāda's grace that his grandson Bali and great-grandson Pana were dealt with favorably by the Lord. So, see, the Lord has so much love and affection for Prahlāda that flowed out towards anyone connected to Prahlāda. Even though, well, his father, Prahlāda prayed for his father to obtain liberation. So that's just how exalted Prahlāda is. So there's that statement: if one becomes a pure devotee, then that gives, then all the family, the generations become benefited and receive some type of liberation. Become so dear to the Lord. Yeah. Any other comments on that? Quite a long purple. Yeah, so.
Yeah, Murli Prabhu, you said generation. It's 21 generation, 14 once at the front and 14 at the back. Am I right about this?
Yeah. How that works technically, I'm not exactly sure, but it is said like that.
Okay, thank you.
But the liberation is not exactly Krishna Prema. That's why I understand. Because yeah,
they all go back there because the pure devotees in your family is born.
Yeah, you've read that they all go back to Godhead specifically.
That's why I heard one of the lecture said, so I wasn't sure. Yeah, but that's what I was asking you the same.
Yeah, perhaps we need perhaps another question I can't answer like yesterday, because I have doubts about that exactly. Well, the Lord can do anything. Sure he can, but you know, if the family members are not at all engaged in devotion, or not at all have any bhakti, then that's why I question what type of liberation they might actually get. Where would they go to?
Or if they get.
Or if they get.
Yeah.
Well, that actually is a statement in Shastra that one's 21 generations, 7 of one's family members become liberated.
But that's endeavor, isn't it?
Well, I mean, that's what we generally understand, but
it's not sit back and I can go.
Yeah, but here we're seeing an example of Krishna's benevolence. Here is an example. We're hearing of Prahlāda, and how because of Prahlāda, then Bali got such great mercy. And also Bali as well. So perhaps this is evidence pointing to that.
Well, yeah, but he was a great Brahmin himself. He did a lot of charity, so that must have worked for him. Although he had Asura as his head guidance or whatever, but he must have done a lot of piety work to get to this position. That's why Vamana Dev probably came to liberate.
But Lord Shiva is saying actually achieving the Lord as his as his doorkeeper, as his constant associate. What he didn't equate to that level of mercy.
No, but that was coming from Prahlāda Mahārāja. I guess that's what he's trying to say.
Yeah, but he's saying, but what Lord Shiva is saying, it's just because he was related to Prahlāda.
Yeah.
That's why he got the mercy. It's not because of what he did or what he didn't do.
The good genes worked with him, let's put it that way.
Yeah, that's one way of describing it. Good genes worked with him. So anyway, we should rest assured that if we become 100% devotees, then all of our bodily or those who are related with will get benefit. No doubt. Described like that.
It's like Narayani Mataji, she was telling us that her son, he said, Mata, you can do all the bhakti because we've got a joint account. So that's what she meant.
Yeah, so that's so that type of mentality might not invoke the mercy of the Lord.
No, but she being a pretty advanced devotee, he must
should get some benefit. Yeah, perhaps he was speaking out of jest a little bit.
Yeah.
No doubt he's a devotee.
Yeah.
All right, perhaps we'll leave it on that mystery then. And it's just about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 6:59. And so an interesting turn of events there. I was sure we was going to go to Vaikuntha. But now we've come to Dvarka and now we're being directed to Prahlāda.
Yes.
Yeah, so now we're going to hear about the glories of Prahlāda. And it's interesting how Prahlāda will then go on to reject the glorification.
Big time, yes.
Yeah, and let's just see how that unfolds, okay? So thank you everyone for joining us for this odyssey, this travel of Narada. And we look forward to next week's hearing and chanting. So thank you for being with us, everyone.
Thank you, Prabhu.
His Grace Murli Prabhu.
Thank
you so much, Murli Prabhu.
There's a question.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I don't know. But, well, there is this devotee, comes from a devotee family. She asked me something.